Hi students, Logan Phillips here, and I am your instructor for our course. Today we're going to be talking about Microsoft Word in the Simnet environment for the Chapter 7 material or guided project. So before we begin, let's go ahead and cover again our contact information. If you need to reach out to me, don't fret. Please reach out. My phone number is 918-595-7485. You can send me an email at logan.phillips1@tulsacc.edu. You can come to my office at A132 in the Northeast Campus Facet Center. Or of course, you can always join me on any of my social media profiles. I'm on all of them. Feel free to reach out, and I'll gladly answer any questions I can. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our Simnet environment. Today we're going to be working on the Chapter 7 guided project. So let's go ahead and open up Simnet dashboard and find that project. Now remember that I am working in just a random class that happens to be open right now. Your class might have different due dates, slightly different layout. It really depends on the course. So let's go ahead and go to the left-hand side and shrink this down to just the projects. And we're going to find the Chapter 7 project. So we got 5, 6, and we got the 7 guided projects. We're at Chapter 7, Guided Project 7-3. So let's open that up, see what we got, and start working. Now, again, I'm using the Microsoft Windows PC. That means I'm going to be using the Windows Office 2016. If you're using a Macintosh, make sure you're using Macintosh 2016. Any previous versions will not work. And we're going to need the start file and the resource file. So on the left-hand side, let's open up our instructions first. And open those up. And you can see here I am working on multiple screens, so my instructions will be on a hidden screen. So I'm going to move those over real quick. I strongly suggest you printing off the instructions and then keeping them with you as you work through the video. I will be calling out the steps that I'm on as I work through the process. I'll be saying things like I'm on step 7E, 8B, 9D, whatever the step I am, so you can follow along. So let's just move that over and then get our start file. The start file is the start file for all versions, Macintosh and PC, no matter if you're using 13, 16, or Macintosh 16. Let's open that up. You can see here, looks like we're doing a cycling classic Tuscany tour itinerary today, so that should be interesting. Now, I'm going to minimize that down to get my resource file next. And we're going to download the resource file. We remember that the resource file is always in a compressed format, so we need to uncompress it or extract the data to our desktop so that we can access it. You cannot use data that's inside of a compressed file. It won't work. So make sure you open it up, and I'm going to move it to my desktop. Now, I choose to do it on the desktop simply because it is easier to deal with and to delete after these videos. You can put it anywhere you like. I choose to put it on the desktop. Let's go find it here. Guided Project 7-3 resources. And it looks like we have a variety of photos and at least something that looks very delicious. And I'm starving. So this should be fun to watch those pictures over and over again. I'm mouth-watering as I'm setting here. All right, so we have those extracted to the desktop. Let's go ahead and open back up that beginning file. Remember that any document you download from online can contain viruses. If it has a macro installed on it, it can insert bad juju into your computer system. So only enable editing on documents that you trust. And as a friendly reminder, if you find a document online and you try to utilize someone else's work as your own, Simnet may or may not allow you to upload it, but once it's uploaded, it probably is going to grade it and give you your grade, and then it's going to alert me that you've cheated. And if I find out you've cheated and you've used someone else's material, I'm going to give you an F on the assignment. Some professors may even give you an F in the class. Some colleges may even kick you out of the college. So you're paying for the class, you're paying for your tuition. Make sure you're doing your own work, because otherwise you're wasting your money and you're wasting your time. Every document downloaded from Simnet is digitally signed and is assigned to a specific student that exists inside Simnet. So if you find something online and try to use it, it's going to be signed to that person, and that can cause you to get an F. All right, so this document, a friendly reminder, I have split screens, and so sometimes I do get lost in the instruction, not because I don't know what I'm doing, but because this bright light that keeps my beautiful face well lit happens to block my screen as well. And so sometimes the light gets into my eyes a little bit too heavy. So with Guided Project 7-3, for this project, we're going to modify the Tuscany Cycling Tour itinerary for the American River Cycling Club. And we're going to convert some text to a table, modify tables, insert pictures, crop, modify pictures, and insert and modify shape. Now, I've done an instructional video for every chapter prior to this, and there will be an instructional video for every chapter after this. So the skills in this are really working with tables, pictures, merging cells, and those type of items. Now, remember that Microsoft Excel is really the place that you want to do databases, where you want to store bigger sums of data inside. Word has the ability to do tables, and it's very nice for showing information in short term, but it is not great for actually doing data analysis or actually controlling data and turning it into usable information. So if you're using big data screens and you're using a big data amount of information, go into Microsoft Excel. Don't try to create a table in Word and then organize your data there. It's going to be horrible, and you're going to have a horrible time with it. All right, so first thing I want you guys to check, make sure you go to the top and middle of the screen, check to make sure that your name is at the top and the middle with the name of the account or the assignment. If you do not see your name, double check, delete the assignment, go back onto Simnet and download it again. And because if it doesn't have your name, it might not be digitally signed and it might cause you issues. So make sure you go online and have one that does have your name. Second, I'm going to go into my Backstage view, File, and I'm going to choose the Save As command, and I'm going to put this document onto my desktop. I'm going to leave the name the same, I'm going to leave the document type the same, and I'm going to hit Open and Save. Now, the reason I do that again is so I can easily delete it after these videos. You are free to share or save these wherever you particularly like. I would strongly suggest using your OneDrive account that comes with your Microsoft Office suite. That way you can access them on any device inside or outside of any computer system. So we've now done steps 1 and 2, and so we're going to jump straight into step 3 and go on past there. Hopefully this video should take about 15 to 20 minutes, and then you'll be done with chapter 7. All right, so on step 3, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the margins, convert the text to table, and modify a table. So this is a pretty big grouping of rules. We're going to be all over the place here. We're going to change the top and bottom left and right margins to a 0.5 inch. So let's go ahead and go to our tabs at the top, and we're going to go to Layout. We're going to change our margins. So we're going to go our drop down and layout tab in the page setup grouping. On the left hand side, we're going to choose our margins. We're going to do some custom margins with the drop down arrow. Now you've been doing this since chapter 1, so I shouldn't have to go into too much detail. I'm going to change these to a 0.5 inch on the top, bottom, left, and right margin. So we've got top, left, bottom, and right. And so we've changed to a 1/2 inch margin on all sides of the document at this point. And we're going to hit OK. That is steps 3A and B. And next, we're going to select the entire document. So let's go ahead and go to the Home tab. We're going to I'm going to use my keyboard shortcut for this instead of looking through the menus. I hit Control and A on my keyboard, and that selected everything through the entire document. So with the whole document selected in step 3B, we're going to click on the Tables button, which is on the Insert tab, Tables Grouping. So Insert tab, we have the Tables Grouping, and we're going to do our drop down, and we're going to choose to Convert Text to Table. So we're using our drop down radio button, and we're going to go down here into the halfway in the middle, and we'll convert text to table. And it looks like this table is number of columns is going to be 1. And we're going to auto fit to window radio button. And auto fit to window radio button. So we're not doing fixed column width or fitting it to content. We're auto fitting it directly to the window. And we're going to select the Paragraphs radio button, which should be automatically selected. If not, change it. And we're going to hit OK to close this particular dialog box. And what you can see here is now modified our document to be in one big table. If you're not seeing these weird little marks around the bottoms and the corners, then you need to come over to your Home tab in the View Show and actually show them. Now, yours may look like this without it, or if you're looking like mine, you have it activated. That is the Show Hide button in the Home tab and the paragraph grouping. Now, I leave those on because it makes it a little bit easier to edit and see exactly where I'm at with blank spaces and paragraphs and those types of items. But if you don't like it, you're free to turn it off. Next, we're going to select we're on now step 3H. And with the table selected, we're going to hit the Borders drop-down box. So I'm going to click anywhere on the table because I've already selected it left. I'm going to go up to the top left-hand corner, and I'm going to hit the little four-way arrows to make sure that I have selected my entire table. I'm going to come up to my Table Tools Design tab, and I'm going to go into the right-hand side into the Borders grouping. And here in the Borders grouping, we're going to hit our drop-down arrow, and we're going to select No Borders. All right. And then we're going to click the View Grid Line button, which is the Table Tools Layout tab. And we're going to choose in the Tables grouping, the View Grid Line button. So what this does with this grid line is we've removed the borders, which if we were to print this document would show up, and we replaced them with grid lines. So we still know where the borders are, but they don't show up when we print. Again, making it a lot easier to manage how things appear and when we're doing the formatting of this document. Because no one really wants to see those borders around every piece of information. We just want it to be laid out very nicely. Now we've gone on to step 4 at this point in time, and we're going to insert a column and merge some cells together. So we're going to select the entire second column and apply the normal text. So on our Table Tools in our Table Tools Layout, we are going to insert to the right a whole row or column. So this is going to give us our second column, and to the right. So Table Tools, Layout tab, Rows and Columns grouping, insert right. Now you can see here we now have a brand new column on the right hand side. We have it selected because we just inserted it. So we're going to leave that selected. If you unfortunately clicked somewhere else and have it deselected, you're going to have to come up to the very top of the document to where your cursor turns into a small arrow, and you're going to have to select the entire column. Now with the right column selected, we're going to apply the normal text style. So let's go to our Home tab in the Styles grouping, and we're going to find the normal text styles. So the very first one on the left side. Now we are in step 4C at this point, and we're going to select the two cells in the first row, and we're going to merge them together. So we have here a title, Cycling City to Tuscany Tour Itinerary. We're going to select both of these, excuse me. I'm getting a little cotton mouth. We're going to select both of these cells in the row. So I'm going to go to my left-hand side. I'm going to click and left hold my mouse button, and I'm going to drag it between the two rows. So I'm selected the both of them, and I'm going to come up to my Table Tools. I'm going to come up to my Layout tab, and I'm going to choose to merge the rows. Merge the two cells into one row. And that is going to be in the Merge grouping, which is about middle. And I'm going to choose the left one, Merge Cells. Next, we're going to select the second column in rows 2 through 4, and click the Merge cell. So second column, cells 2, 3, and 4. So that's going to be the cells next to Day 1, Highlights, and We Meet. And we're going to merge these cells together. So Table Tools, Layout, Merge Grouping, Merge Cells. So we have one big cell here now. And we're going to repeat the step 4D to merge the 3 cells to the second column to the right of each day highlight and description. So we're going to do this step over again for each of the Day 2, Day 3, and so forth. So let's select the cell next to Day 2, Highlights, and Leave. And Table Tools Layout tab, Merge Cells. Come down, Day 3, Highlights and Description, Merge Cells. And Day 4, Highlights and Description, Merge Cells. And Day 5, same thing. And Day 6, Highlights, Merge Cells. And last 2, day 7, and day 8. Oop. I have selected too many cells. If I was to merge these now with selecting too many, it's going to give me all kinds of errors. So I'm going to unselect and reselect them. Come back in my Layout tab, Merge Grouping, Merge Cells. So I've got one little group or one box to the right of each individual day. We are now on to step 5. And in step 5, we're going to insert, resize, crop, modify, and align some pictures. So first we're going to place our insertion point in the cell in the second column to the right of day 1 content. So we have day 1 content. We have the big empty first merged cell. We're going to put our cursor inside of it. And we're going to choose to insert day 107 picture. So let's go to our Home tab. I go into Insert. We're going to choose a picture. And we're going to find that resource file on our desktop. And let's go here into 7.3 resources. And we're looking for picture day 1-07. And choose Insert. With that inserted into the little box, we're going to select the picture, making sure that all the box or round white circles are surrounding the picture. We're going to come up onto our Picture Tools Format tab on the right-hand side, and we're going to start changing height and width. The width of this picture is 2.5 inches. And enter. Next, on step 5D, we're going to click the Crop drop-down arrow, which is on the Picture Tools Format tab. And we're going to choose the Crop drop-down arrow. Let's see, remove corrections, crop. That is on the right-hand side in the sizing grouping. Hit our drop-down arrow, and we're going to crop to shape. Let's see, and we're going to select rounded rectangle. So let's just go find the rectangles grouping, and the second one should be rounded corners rectangle. You can see it just made the picture drop off the edges of each of the 4 corners and give us a nice little rounding to it. We are now on step 5E. We're going to click the Picture Effects button, which is in the Picture Tools Format tab. So we have Picture Tools Format tab, and we have Picture Effects in the right-hand side of the Picture Styles grouping. We're going to hit our radio button, and here we are going to apply a Shadow Offset Center. So let's go find Shadow, and then we're going to find Offset and Center. So Offset bottom right, Offset bottom, Offset center. So in the outer shadow, it's the one in the very middle. Step 6F or 5F, with the picture still selected, we're going to align this to the center of the document. So let's go ahead up to selecting the picture, and we're going to go to Position, and I'm sorry, wrong one. Let's go to Home tab, and we're going to center this. There we go. So Home tab, paragraph grouping, and centered. Which, I'm sorry, we did this a little backwards. Let's go to the Table Tools Layout tab. So Table Tools Layout tab, and then choose it specifically to this table. And we're going to align this in the alignment grouping, and we're going to choose to align it not just to the top center, but we're going to align it to center center. So it's equal distance from top and bottom and left and right. Now we're going to repeat the steps 5B through F to insert and format the following pictures. So day 207, let's go ahead and insert our cursor in the next box down. We're going to choose Insert, Picture, day 207. We're going to choose the next box down, Insert, Picture, day 307. We're going to go to the next box down, Insert, Picture, day 4. Next box down, Insert, Picture, day 5, I think. And day 6 is next. Insert, Picture, day 6. And next, day Insert, Picture. Some of this can be repetitive, so just stick with me. And day 8, Insert, picture day 8. I seriously don't know what that is, but it looks absolutely fantastically delicious. Like some weird Mediterranean pasta or something. Okay. I might be a little hungry. All right, so we've done the inserting of the pictures. We need to make them look the same with the same type of formatting as our first one. Now we can go through here and do each individual picture the same way, going into rounded rectangle, picture effects, shadow dropping of center, and doing that over and over again. Now I'm going to do it in a shortcut manner. You can choose to do this if you want, or you can choose to follow the rules. And so I'm going to click on the first picture. I'm going to go to my Home tab, and I'm going to do a Format Painter. And then I'm going to paint it onto the second one. And then I'm going to come down to this next one, Format Painter, next, Format Painter, next, Format Painter, next, Format Painter, next, and keep repeating. All right, now the only thing I have to do now is set the height, the width, and the center it. So let's go to Table Tools Design. We're going to choose to center, and I think the width was what? I think it was 2.5 inches. Okay, so let's go to Table Tools, or I'm sorry, Picture, Tools, Format, and we're going to change this to a 2.5 inch. Hit Enter. So let's just go ahead and change these all size real quick. This is on the Picture Tools Format, height 2.5, height 2.5. Keep going. And height 2.5, height 2.5, and then we're going to come back up and recenter all these. So notice that I'm doing it in the same process over and over again instead of doing each individual picture. It's just because I'm a little bit faster at it that way. So I'm going to click on this picture. We're going to go to Table Tools. We're going to do a Layout, Alignment, Grouping, and Center. Same thing over and over again for each of the individual pictures. Now don't worry about the pagination at this point in time. We are going to fix that further on the document. And what pagination means is this weird day 7 half on one page, half on the other page. So we're going to have to fix that to make this document look nicer, but we're going to be doing that in this process. So we have all of them at 2.5 inch. All of them have the same formatting. All of them are centered to the square of the table itself. And that puts us at finishing step 5, and we are now on to step 6. So on step 6, we're going to auto-fit the table to contents. We're going to select the entire table. So I'm going to go up to the very top. I'm going to left click my mouse on the white 4-way arrows, selecting the entire table. And then I'm going to come over to the Table Tools Layout tab. I'm going to choose Auto Fit button. Let's see where that's at real quick. Here we go, in the cell grouping. And I'm going to choose to Auto Fit to Contents. And you can see here it extended out my document's descriptors and moved the picture to the right-hand side. All right, so we are now finished with step 6. We're on to step 7. We're going to draw, resize, and modify a shape. So we're going to go to the first page, which is where I left off at. You can see page number in the bottom right-hand corner, or you can see page number in the bottom left-hand corner. And we're going to choose center the text in the first row. So let's go ahead and where it says Cycling Classic Tuscany, we're going to highlight all of our text. Let's just go here. We're going to go Table Tools Layout, and we're going to choose to center it. All right, and next, we're going to click on the Shapes button on the Insert tab, Illustration, and select Rounded Rectangle. Shapes button, in the Insert tab, Shapes button, Illustrations grouping, and we're going to choose a rounded rectangle. Okay. And we're going to draw a shape around the text in the first row of the table. So let's just draw a shape. We'll fix it here in a minute. Around that first one. Okay. We're gonna modify this shape. So right now your shape should be covering up your title, which is pretty crappy, but we're gonna fix all that here in the next steps. So we're gonna change the shape height to a 0.35 inch. So we got a height of 0.35 and a width of 5.2. Now I got pretty close on drawing, but not quite perfect. So we're gonna extend that out. Next, with the shape selected, we're gonna click on the shape fill. So make sure your shape is selected. And we're going to go to the Drawing Tools Format tab. We have the Shape Fill in the Shape Styles grouping. We're going to hit our down arrow, and we are going to do a Shape Fill button, and we're going to choose Red Accent 2, which should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, first row. All right, next, on step 7F, we're going to click the Shape Fill button again. So let's go up here to Shape Fill, and we're going to choose a gradient. And we're going to choose a linear up gradient. So let's go, right now we have a no gradient. And if we float around here, we have a linear diagonal, we have linear down, and linear diagonal, bottom right. Here's linear up, left. There we go. So third row, second column, linear up. So this changed the color of the colors to go from a darker color to a lighter color from the bottom to the top. All right, gradient, linear up. All right, we're on now step 7G. We're going to click the Shape Outline button, which is again is in the Drawing Tools Format tab, Shape Styles grouping. We're going to choose Shape Outline, and we are going to do an outline of a weight green in the standard colors area. So standard colors, and we're going to choose green. And that's just a hideous logo so far. And then we're going to choose the shape outline and select a weight and select 2.5 points. So shape outline, we're going to chime down to weight, and we're going to find 2.5 or a quarter, 2.25 points. It's a nice thick green outline on pink. Not my personal favorite. All right, so we're on to step 8 at this point in time, and we're going to align and order a shape. So the order is where shapes are put. And so right now we're covering our text, but really we want the text on top of the shape. So we're going to have to send that shape back and bring the text forward. And so with the shape selected, click the Align button, which is on the Drawing Tools Format tab. Drawing Tools Format tab, we're going to come over to the right-hand side in the Arrange grouping. We're going to hit our Align. And we are going to align this where? To margin. Align to margin. And make sure that has a check mark next to it. Align to margin does have a check mark. Next, we're going to click the Align button again and select Align Center. And again, with a line middle. And then we're going to click the Send Backward button. And so we're going to come up here into the Drawing Tools Format tab. We're going to choose to send backwards, drop down, and we're going to send behind the text. So we've got the classic Cycling Classic Tuscany Tour itinerary now on top. So any Word document actually acts just like a desktop. You lay your piece of paper down, you lay a sticky note on top of it, you have layers. And so the more layers you have, things below them hide. Now you can typically make things sort of invisible, and so you can see below them, or you can rearrange stuff. And you typically want your text above your shapes so that you can read your text. And so let's go. We are now finished with step 8D. We are now on step 8E. We're going to select the text on top of the shape and change the font color to white background 1. So let's go ahead and select all the text on the Cycling Classic Tuscany Tour. We're going to come over here to text color, and we're going to choose white background 1, which should be the first row, first column, first color. We are now on to step 9. We're going to place the insertion point before the day 7 on page 2. So we come down to day 7 on page 2. We're going to hit our insertion point right before that. And we're going to hit Control Enter to insert a page break. Now, in the real world, you can hit Control Enter, or you can always come up here to your Insert tab and insert a page break. Or, I'm sorry, Layout tab, and hit a break from the page setup. But for our instructions, we're going to hit Control and Enter, moving page day 7 down to the next page. All right, so it looks like our pagination should be pretty okay at this point in time. Day 3, something's not quite right. Okay, so I made a slight mistake, and I'm going to show you how to fix that real quick. Professors aren't above mistakes every now and then, but at least I caught it. You can see that my pagination is broken because page 3 is broken between 2 pieces. So when we did the photographs, I made a very simple mistake. I said the height was 2.5 inches, but the reality, the width was supposed to be 2.5 inches. So let's just open up the width and go through and make these back to 2.5. This is done on the Picture Tools Format tab. I'm clicking on each individual picture, typing in the correct width, hitting Enter, which automatically updates the height. Okay, so now we have day 1, 2, and 3 on one page, day 4, 5, and 6 on a second page, day 7 and 8 on a third page. So like I said, that was a simple mistake. All I did was reverse the height and the width and fixed it. So your new height and width for each individual picture should be 2 by 2.5. And now we should be looking exactly like the final document. So let's go ahead and File, Save As. We're going to choose our desktop. Let's do desktop. I'm going to leave the name, the document type, and hit Save. And then we can minimize this. And let's go ahead and open it up, upload it, and see what we scored. Desktop, table number 7, Tuscany Cycling. Open. Yes, I am ready to submit this document. Now, I have a strong sensation that I made one mistake, and that was the coloring of the box. But I am wrong. We got 100% there. So remember, the error I made in this was reversing the height and width of our individual pictures. If you have any problems, comments, or concerns, let me know. I'll gladly walk you through them. All right, guys, that is 100% how to get the guided project for project 7-3 for Simnet. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I hope you have a very fruitful day. Bye.